Cats had no plan B. After halftime, Dangerfield went missing. Was anyone surprised? And bad mistakes. Geelong made a few. Picking Rowan, Mize and Henry and not expecting to lose. And the list goes on and on and on and on. We are the champions. And we'll keep on fighting. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the grand final celebration edition of the BigFooty Tigercast. We've done it. We've gone back to back against all odds. Everyone had written us off up until the day before the game. Crazy stuff, but the boys pulled out an amazing performance in what I think was one of our best wins out of the last three grand finals by far. And with me to talk about it tonight, as always, CB70 and TIG71. Welcome, fellas.
Thank you, guys. I'm just wrapped that I'm alive to do this show after the celebratory weekend that I had. But let's soldier on.
Yeah, you might touch a bit more on that as we get into it, because that was some effort, really. I'm surprised you're alive as well.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too.
Massive, just an unbelievable game. But I suppose we'll start, before we get stuck into the game itself, given it was a bit of a different year, we couldn't really obviously all go, and the way we could watch it was different because of COVID. So what did you all do? So CB, what did you do for grand final day?
I went to the only place I could be trusted to be around something like, I went to a best mates joint who I knew wasn't going to annoy me or upset me if things were going to be tense and tight, which they were at halftime. And it's fair to say I got roundly munted, and I paid for it next day.
Well, that's the way to go. Tiggs, what did you do?
Yeah, mine was a bit funny. Obviously, during the day being locked down, there was not much you can do. So I watched our last year's grand final. Try to keep busy by doing housework, all that sort of stuff. But as the game went on, it was funny. I've not watched free-to-air TV in years. I just haven't. Like, I've got an aerial and stuff, but never use it, with Foxtel and everything else. So with the kids on Foxtel watching all the pre-game stuff, and next thing it all turns off, and I'm going, what's going on? So I go to my PC, and my wife tells me, it's Channel 7 exclusive. So I go to channel7.com.au, and it's not working. It's border security. So I put this panic tweet out, what the heck is going on? How do I watch it? Anyway, my kids, they all came. They saved me. Apparently my main PC would not run whatever it is. So my son, who's got a MacBook Pro, comes running out, Dad, I got it working, and I've grabbed the TV. And it was actually really nice. We watched it basically in bed with my youngest, and my youngest was barracking just as hard as I was, and it was just great. It was fantastic.
Very good. I was pretty much the same. I spent it at home with the wife and kids, so the 2-year-old had had enough by about half time, so we put him to bed, and then it was just watching it with a Canadian club. Made myself a roast beef during the day, so it was all good. A few nervous times, but very good result nonetheless. So now, would it be fair to say, fellas, that Geelong supporters and even the media were very, very confident that they were going to win leading up to the game? Was that a fair statement?
They wanted them to win, mate. It was us versus the world. That's what it was.
100%. Us versus the world it was.
Have you contemplated what it might have been like to be in the town of Geelong as a Richmond supporter at all during these times, before and after the win? Have you ever thought about what that might be like?
Well, I personally wanted to experience that. So what I basically did, it was really hard on lockdown. And if any police hear me, please, hear this podcast, don't charge me, because be empathetic of what I did. So what I basically did, I drove down to the closest, retirement village, right? Just to get the ambience of Geelong, being a shanty town. So I went to this, really poorly maintained retirement village. A couple of mostly old people. There was a few drug addicts, and I saw one bloke ripping off another bloke's car. So I felt really Geelong at home, and saw all the Geelong scarves and everything. And this guy missing one leg, with 3 teeth, was telling me how, Ablett and Rowan were going to rip us to pieces. So I think I felt it, I think I really felt the true essence of what is to be a Cat supporter, and truly what it is to do and live in a regional area such as Geelong.
Now, it's dangerous territory out there. There's no two ways about it.
Of course it is.
And I've gone straight to the source here, fellas. I've got someone on the line who is a Richmond supporter. He's a good friend of the show, and he lives out in the Geelong area, and he might have some good insight as to what it's been like there out in Geelong since the Tigers won the flag. Grockadoc, are you there?
Oh, Crocodile.
Hey, Grocko!
Thanks, Michael. I'm here. Absolutely.
Now, you're in the hot spot there down in Geelong. Nervous times before the final. What's it been like before, and what's it been like after?
Yeah, as you said, I'm live in the heart of Scattsville at the moment, and I got to say, the mood's a pretty somber one at best if you're a handbag fan. The blue and white balloons, ribbons, and posters that adorned the buildings and shops went down quicker than Danger flopping for frees in the second half.
That's pretty quick.
All the Geelong apparel that was seen adorned by the handbag masses last week have disappeared, much like their pathetic team's foot skills in the second half. The normally popular Eastern Beach is deserted and extra salty, just like that Muppet Danger in the goal square in the third quarter. There's not one single mention of the Cats in and around the city, if you could call it that. It's quieter than a Gary Rowan performance in a grand final.
Jeepers, that quiet.
Bullshit.
That's amazing.
Nothing's that quiet, man.
The only thing as quiet as Gary Rowan is probably the moon.
I was going to say Antarctica.
Another moon man.
The polar bear walking across the street or something.
The vocal foaming, frothing ferals that were present every week down Moorabool Street have vanished like their supporters' use of ninthman jokes.
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah.
Brock, can I ask you a really important question, mate?
Yeah.
No one's come trying to burn your house down?
No, mate, I don't live in Torquay.
Oh, mate, just watch it, mate. Watch it.
Which is surprising.
They're going to burn your house down. They did it to Vloston.
I know.
Burn your house down, son.
You know, they give Corio a bad rap. Geez, if anyone's house was going to get...
So, have you walked down the main street in your Richmond gear? Have you gone to that bravery level and just seen what the reactions were like?
Yeah, I did that on grand final night. Actually,
God walks amongst us.
Yeah, I was braver than Tigger in that tackle with Danger. I ended up going in down Moorabool Street. Actually, a celebratory kebab from my favourite kebab shop after I was, a bottle of Sambuca shot down. So. Felt a bit brave. And
how was that received by the locals, wandering down the street in your Richmond gear?
It was, I felt like that Richmond supporter who got spat on at Cardinia Park. The last time I was down there.
Or did you feel like a guy who gets out of his car and walks a block and then realises he hasn't got his face mask on in COVID times?
Runs back quickly and changes.
Grok, you've inspired me, mate. Once the Ring of Steel is down, right, because, I need to visit Geelong again and really deposit some, some Richmond goodness. Yeah. I'll meet up with you, right? I'll be decked out in everything Richmond, right? The whole Richmond get up, right? You do the same. We'll see if we can get a couple other guys with us to record it, and we'll just go get a kebab, eat a kebab, just to get the fuel going. And then you just walk me down to Continuum Park, and we'll just unload. We'll just basically spray, because after I have a few too many beers, it tends to go from solids to more liquids. So we'll just spray the Cardinia Park. And what I really want to do, because I really want to honour the little master, right? I really want to honour him. He's a little master, mate.
A mural?
And we're going to get a mural of Ablett, right? And his head, because it's so shiny, there's not even a molecule of hair on that head. It's shiny. It's beautiful. So what we'll do, Grok, you'll probably stand on the side. You probably want to stand a good 100 metres away, but get the phone out so I record it and we'll upload it. But we'll put it 25 metres away, like a little mural for him, and I'll just see if I can hit the target.
Something great.
I'll assume the position, and off we go. And I'll make sure I have a lot of chili sauce before we do this, which is Spanish, really spicy salami. So maybe I can even set it on fire, because I think that's what it warrants, But definitely the date, we'll do it. We'll go, mate, if we can even spin it off, raise some money. Get some, raise some money for charity or something. Yeah, we'll do it like a little fundraiser. Any Richard supporters want to sponsor, maybe sponsor a stool. Right?
Maybe we could get Nick Lawson involved. I'm sure he'd be keen to make a deposit.
That's exactly right. anyone
So
that
to
wants
all
to
our
possibly do it.
so to all our listeners out there, we're going to be down 2 people. So they're going to be killed in approximately 3 weeks. So if you'd like to be part of the Tigercast next year, send your tapes through to Michael's, and we will gladly have a listen.
Well, we'll ferment the idea. We'll ferment. Very important word there. But look, I'm definitely going to do a grok, you and me, mate, and we'll record it, and we'll be full-blown Richmond. We'll talk about Cochin, how great his leadership is, and how
he's better captain than Selwood.
Yeah,
we should do a live show from Marble Street.
We should do it, mate. That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
That'd be a ripper. If we beat Geelong in the grand final next year.
That'd be even better.
Very good grok. Not all heroes wear capes, grok. That's one thing we've got to remember here. You're a brave man doing that. Any other news to report down from the Geelong way?
Other than my kebab being free, Chris Scott's opinion of Richmond's has changed. It's been shattered since they realised that Richmond and Hawthorn have overtaken them. The tears have been flowing faster than the beers with the boys at the Miami Tavern.
You've got to watch the salt intake down there too.
Absolutely. I swear fish and chip shops won't be going out of salt, for the next 100 years down this way. I swear. It's been absolutely glorious living down here at the moment. Absolutely glorious.
No,
I'd like to give a massive shout out to all the Tigers fans living down this way who've had to endure the abuse, the trolling, the arrogance, and the sense of entitlement from the handbag fans over the years. How sweet it is. In the words of Dimmer, when the dynasty started, this one's for you.
Yes. Very good, Grok. Very good. No, well, I'm just glad to see you're alive. I was a bit worried for your health and safety after we didn't hear from you for a few days, but good to see you're alive and kicking and just flying the flag for the Tiger faithful down there, mate. Thank you very much for calling in. And good to hear that you're giving it to the shantytown.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to wear yellow and black every time I'm in that city centre, that shantytown, and nothing will stop me from doing that. So
fantastic, mate. Fantastic.
Very good. There you go, folks.
You're a legend.
Right from ground zero itself, Crocodoc, right in the middle of the Geelong heartland, just brave as they come. Give him the Francis Burke Award for that kind of effort. Well done, Grok.
That's it. Well done, mate.
No worries, mate.
See you, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, so I thought it was important to get that viewpoint from someone right in that heartland, because we can speculate all we want, but until you're there in amongst it, you just don't know what it's really like.
Yeah, I agree, mate. We all know what shit looks like, but till you really get up there and smell it, you don't appreciate the level, how disgusting it is. So to get that first-hand report was just, mate, it was like a report from Afghanistan. You know what I mean? It was just, mate, I'm riveted. I was riveted.
All right, well, we'll touch on the game, because it's the only game we've got to talk about, which is good. And it's a positive one. So the grand final, Richmond 12-9-81 defeated Geelong 7-8-50 by 31 points, winning our 13th premiership in all its glory. So I thought we'd do it a little bit differently. Instead of just doing an overarching one, just because of the magnitude of the game, I thought we'd maybe look at it quarter by quarter, because I'm sure there's different moments for you both that stood out along the way. So first quarter, Richmond were 2-1-13 and Geelong were 2-2-14. CB, what would you take after that first quarter?
Well, taking the first quarter was, I guess we expected a tight encounter, and that's exactly what we got. So I always thought that, it sort of goes in the second quarter, we had to be near them, I guess, was what my fear was. We had to be near them to have a shot at it in the second half. And the first quarter was, let's be serious. It was a bizarre first 5 minutes, wasn't it? In the first 5 minutes, we saw Vlosten get knocked out. We saw Ablett bust his shoulder. And then we had two losers, who are apparently comedians, do a pitch invasion. It was a pretty wild first quarter. But it was tough and tight. And I thought that first quarter was a worthy grand final first quarter, if that makes sense. It was a ripping game.
Yeah, my thoughts on it was when they scored those first 2 points, I wasn't worried. I got worried when Vlosten got basically thugged out of the game. Now, when people saying that there was no case to answer with Dangerfield, I put out a tweet and said, and I reckon I'm right on this. If Lynch, can you imagine Lynch had this exactly same action and knocked out Dangerfield with that action, and had it been Lynch, there's no way he would have got off not without a fine or without any incident. But anyway, I could tell when they scored those first 2 points, it sort of our defence wasn't shifting the way that it normally does. Obviously, Vlosten's a big part of that, and I did not know at the time about Hooley's calf, right? So we lost a fair bit of run and that intelligent running, and so they had 2 easy breaks. We stabilised a little bit, and we scored the 2 first goals ourselves. And I thought, no, we're on, but we don't look right. And then when obviously they had a quick reply, got their 2 goals, and then I thought, okay, we've got a game here, but we need to sort out our defenders. That was my main concern going into the second quarter, that our natural instinctive rebound was not there, and that worried me a little bit, to be honest.
Can I just interrupt for 1 second? Hang on.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify one thing. So last year, the only reason we beat Geelong in the prelim was because they were missing Mitch Duncan and Tom Hawkins. Can we just confirm that they both played on Saturday night?
They definitely did. Duncan actually wasn't half bad.
Hawkins he was pretty good.
Yeah, Hawkins was okay, but they had a full list available.
But their jet, mate, the main jet that they were missing when we've beaten them pretty consistently was Rowan. Now, I think he played. Did he play?
They're still trying to. He's done a Josh Jenkins. They're still trying to find him.
They're still digging. Apparently, Rowan, mate, his face is appearing on milk cartons now. Have you seen this guy?
The way they talked him up, the way the Geelong supporters on the Geelong board prior to the game talked Rowan up as he was the fucking difference. Excuse the language. It was just boggles the mind.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room right now. I'll just say this, and I put a tweet out about this. Given that Dangerfield got cleared on what he did with Nick Vlosten, we should never, ever, ever hear about Cochin and Shield ever again.
Correct.
That's all I'm saying.
It was 2 motions for mine. Like I understand you've got to protect yourself, but he could have tucked his arm in. He actually thrust it forward.
That's right.
And accentuated the contact to his face. He didn't have to.
And he stared, if you look at it, because I've watched that vision a fair bit. Once he does get the ball, so his arm's out to his right? And you could see him. Then he looks at Vlosten, and then he actually brings his arm in and then throws the elbow. You actually see the elbow go ahead of his fist. Like, so if you cock your elbow and push your elbow forward, that's actually what he does. If it was a defensive action, like they said, he's just put his arm out and then to knock the ball, which he's done. Your natural human instinct is to brace, is to bring the arm to your chest, right? That will tuck your elbow in. That's the natural human instinct to do that, to defend yourself. He didn't do that. He wanted to be he wanted to hurt him, so he left the elbow. He actually didn't leave it out there. He actually pushed it out there. That's why the MRO to me is the most corrupt. Michael Christensen is the most corrupt official I've ever seen, and it's his fault because he does it. But it's the AFL. They didn't want them to get it because Dangerfield's part of is the Players Association, and they're in a pay dispute, and that's the reason why he got an absolute free pass. It was absolutely disgusting. But anyway, I don't want to go on a tangent. I want to talk about. Let's talk about the second quarter.
Let's talk about. Firstly, also, I know we touched on Hooley. I want to pay extra homage to Hooley.
Oh, bravery.
Pinging a calf not long after Vlosten goes down, like that's realistically a 4-week injury typically.
Yeah.
The fact he was able to run the game out, I know Hardwick asked him really nicely if he could really take one for the team here, but the fact he was doing explosive running efforts and chase downs, tackles, kicking, like he was taking kicking in duties and everything. Yeah. Just a phenomenal effort from Basher Hooley. And it's another one of those ones similar to Jack Graham last year that without him doing what he did for the team, I don't think we win. Having 2 people down on the bench, we couldn't have coped.
Yeah. It was just, look, has any of you 2 blokes done your calf?
Mate, I'm an old man. Of course I ping calves.
Yeah.
Calves in particular.
Yeah, I've done my calf as well, and it sort of loosens up when you warm up. But in saying that, when you cool down, which you'll do often, I'd imagine, in periods of the game, when you're not being used, it can lock right up. So for him to play the way he did without wincing and letting people know that he was in pain or, masking it. So
unbelievable effort.
So the Geelong players would not know that he was actually really limited. We all knew, being Richmond supporters, we knew he's down. He was really quiet. Something must be up. We didn't know it was an injury, but he wasn't playing like he normally does in big games. So for him to do that was just, credit to him. Yeah, credit to him.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. All right, second quarter. So half time, Richmond were 3-2-20, Geelong were 5-5-35. Now, I'll put my hand up. At half-time, I was feeling a bit shit about the game, and I may have said at one stage during the second quarter that it could be game over when they got on a bit of a roll. I was just a little bit frazzled by them sort of taking us to task a little bit there, CB.
Yeah, look, I'll admit, I thought I might have almost busted my mate's coffee table when I smashed it with my hand really, really hard at some stage in that second quarter. And I was like you, I was getting pretty frustrated and upset with what was going on, because you're just like, oh my God, we're doomed. You know, they were on, right? They were absolutely on. And my mate kept reassuring me. He said, look, you just need one goal. You'll be right. You just need one goal. And I'm like, mate, have a look at this. They're all over us, blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, cometh the hour, cometh the man. And Dustin Martin, he gave us a pulse going into that halftime break. But to credit to Geelong, they absolutely blitzed. That second quarter, they played unbelievable footy.
They were unlucky not to be further ahead, to be honest. They were that much better than us that quarter that they should have been 4 or 5 goals ahead.
That should have been about 28 points up. Yeah, let's talk about it. How satisfying was Groenmeyer's miss?
Oh, when he played, yeah, what a dickhead. Played on.
What a dickhead.
Missed. Yeah, that was very good.
And they showed a slow-mo.
Didn't get over to him and let him know about it either.
Well, what? If you look at it when he took the mark, he had 4 blokes with their hands up saying, stop,
yeah.
Take the shot. And he ignored them. He had a bit of me time. And that was that moment. That and Dusty kicking that goal, that was like a 12-point moment for us. It was fantastic.
Absolutely. That could have been the nail in the coffin for our confidence. So, Tiggs, what did you make of the second?
Yeah. And I'm on record too, because I actually posted on the board during that quarter too. I never was in doubt that we'll still ride in the game, even though when they scored, those 3 goals in quick succession, it was the manner in which they scored it. When I saw them score, I thought it's just too easy. So generally when I see an opposition score easy goals, something's breaking down. That can be fixed. And it was the second quarter. So I was like CB coming into the game. I said, look, I expected us to be down at halftime. It's just the nature of how Geelong play. They like to overawe sides. And I figured, look, no, if we're with them within 20 points, we're doing really, really well. So I was never really panicked. And the way we scored ourselves, like we managed to score, 1.1 during that game, but I just thought, no, by the method of play, we were way down. We had so many people down. We had Grimes down. We had so many of our top-tier players down. But they were
both down. They weren't firing either. They were giving us nothing.
They weren't. And when they scored, after their third goal, and then they scored 2 points, and when they were lining up for their 4th shot on goal, I looked at my son and I said, if they get this one, I'm going to start to worry, because if they get this one, they might get another. And when he missed, I said, all right, that's good. And then they missed again. I said, okay, this is great. How many minutes left we got? And I think we had about 3 or 4 minutes. And in that 3 and 4 minutes, even before Dusty scored, we started getting it inside 50.
Yeah, we turned the tide.
Yeah, you could see a shift. We sort of worked out. Short really came into that game, and Edwards really came into that quarter as well.
Pickett, I think he stood up in that when it was up against us. I thought Pickett was huge.
Yeah, it was really smart coaching. What they did, obviously we didn't know at the time about Hooley, but he realised our drive is what was getting us. So he rolled Pickett back as a defensive winger, but basically as another backman. And then that sort of freed up Short to be able to really get that meters game going. And then we started penetrating inside 50. Now, we had that one score from Martin, and what a goal it was. Like, it was just how someone can be so brutal, but so he's like if Hulk Hogan was a surgeon, that's Dusty, right? He's just he's just an enigma on the field. But that goal, exactly what we needed. That as soon as he kicked it, I looked at my son, I said, we've won. From that moment on, I go, we're going to win the game. Because towards the end of the quarter, as we were getting all these repeats inside 50s, it was hard because it's TV, but I noticed that as they were walking off the ground, the camera sort of scanned through a lot of Geelong, and a lot of those players were on their haunches or heads down, like they gave everything that second quarter, and they're only 15 points up. So, yeah, I went in chock full of confidence.
And can we say the first half, clearly Jayden Short was our best player? Do we agree?
Oh, can I say something, CB? I'm glad you said that, mate.
Yep.
I've always rated Jayden Short, right? I've always, even very early on, I wanted games thrown at him. right? Because even though he's slight, he's got that beautiful weapon of his. And he's now playing with the maturity. He's intelligent in how he uses his main kicking game, and he knows when to hack care it, because for him, hack caring is going to completely clear the press, so allow us time to shape up behind the ball, or he can really he can hit a fly on the arse with his kicking. So, but not only that impressed me, his ability to tackle, his ability to put his head over the ball.
Yeah, his actual defensive work's gotten a lot better. That was his big knock.
And it lifted up levels. Like, he sort of obviously said to yourself, well, Hawley's not doing it, can't do it. Vlosson's not in, it's my turn. And when it's your turn to go, you go, and my God, he went. And I was just so impressed with him.
All right, so coming back out for the third quarter, the one thing I found interesting during halftime, not sure if you guys watched much of the halftime break from a team perspective, but Geelong was sitting there sort of re-watching the vision of what they did in the first half, and then our guys were in their line groups, and the one player that stood out to me as we were about to come back out was Noah Bolter. He was kind of in the middle of a few players, and he was just pumped. He was excited. He was raring to go to get back out there, and he just knew the boys were going to be on from the start of that third quarter. And it showed, because I felt the thirds when we really started to flex our muscle. At three-quarter time, it was 7-4-46 to 6-8-44. So we piled on a few goals that quarter, and Geelong only kicked the one. CB, what was the turning point for that third quarter?
Well, actually, as you said, the turning point for the third quarter actually occurred 5 minutes to go in the second quarter, where Bolter moved into the ruck forward position and Asprey went in defence, taking on Hawkins. So that's actually what gave us our drive. And all of a sudden, like, Edwards played a very consistent game. I thought he was great. But all of a sudden, Bolton's third quarter, like, Bolton lifted in the third quarter and gave us drive. Prestia lifted. Lambert did some good things. Dusty was just Dusty. We just took that game. They call it the Premiership quarter for a reason, I guess, and we took that game by the scruff of the neck. Geelong didn't lose it. We took it. That's how I perceived that quarter.
I don't know what quarter this happened in, but it was Bolter in the ruck, and the ball went up, and it kind of wasn't straight up the middle, but the tap he gave to Dusty was just phenomenal. For someone who's not a full-time ruckman, he just rocked back and put it straight down his throat, and he ran away and cleared it. I'm like, holy crap, that's what you want to see. Rewalt got the early goal as well in the third quarter, and I thought as soon as he got that, I thought, we're on here. We're going to get our game going, and if we can kick 3 or 4 quick goals here, it's game on. But Tiggs, what did you make of the third?
Yeah, look, the third was a typical. We made the game a Richmond game. Jack's so smart to get that free kick. Obviously, we won the clearance, and Prestia was immense also in that third quarter. I really want to highlight his efforts. But, he did those 2 socky kicks just to mongrel the ball forward, and Jack, anticipating it was going to happen, what I loved about him, what he wasn't doing in the first 2 quarters, he actually engaged Henderson, like got in a bit of a wrestle with him and grabbed him by the jumper as Hendo was grabbing him, and then shoved him behind him. So what your natural reaction when you shove behind someone is to reach out and hug him. And he accentuated it, which is perfect forward craft. That's, yes, it was a free kick. It was by the rules a free kick, but Rewalt did enough to, one, create that free kick and make sure the umpire was aware of it without flopping and, making a non-free kick a free kick, if that makes any sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Selwood does with his head shrug. So that was really smart. But what really got me excited, I was looking at my son, and we're watching us go on. After we kicked that goal, we started chaining the ball by hand. That was the biggest thing I got from it. There was a passage of play where Bolton handballed to Edwards, which handballed to Graham, which handballed to Lambert. And when we did that and I looked at my son, I said, okay, yeah, we're back. And that's when the avalanche started. They could control it. See, Geelong, being an older side, they keep a beautiful football because it conserves energy. We force them to play messy football. We force them to try to anticipate where we're going. So we force their backs to run left, right, up, down, trying to find out where's this bobbling ball going. And it worked on their heads. And then when we got the second goal and then the third goal, you could literally see them dip their heads like, my God, preliminary finals coming again. Agree with Bolter. He gave us a lot more mobility in the ruck, which was a different look than Nankervis. But Nankervis for me is probably one of the top 3 of the game for me. If we did not have Nankervis rucking, we wouldn't have won the grand final. I'm convinced on it. He was his tackle on Guthrie set the tone. Jack got the goal, but I think he tackled Guthrie before our second. after Joel Selwood handball to Guthrie, and he just closed him down and tackled him, created a turnover, which led to our second goal in that third quarter. So, yeah, it was immense. It was great.
Absolute Lionheart, Nankers.
Yeah, he's a warrior.
Yeah, I think he had 6 tackles again, second most for us. Just
and the most
Herculean effort.
And the most pressure acts of anyone on the ground.
I'll give you something. They said on SEN today, he was the best pressure player
of
the whole final series. Yeah,
that's right.
The whole final series, wow.
Yep.
And you know what? His tap work's improved. People forget he's only 23, isn't he?
No, I think
he's
a
about
little bit
25,
older,
26.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure he's young. No, I thought he was 24.
He's about to peak. He's about 25, 26. He's in there.
He had a bloody good final series, though. He was unbelievable.
Oh, he's 26. 12th of August. Okay, 12th of August. He's 26 years of age. Okay. All right. Yeah, I thought he was 23, 24. That's when we recruited him. God, I'm a dickhead. You recruit someone and you think they don't age. But, yeah, he's peaked it now. He's going to start to peak now. So we should start seeing the best of him.
And then moving on to the last quarter, the final result obviously ended up 12-9-81 to 7-8-50. We just kept breaking him down, didn't we, CB? It was just an avalanche, as Teague said earlier. It couldn't be stopped. 5-1. Dusty was just showing pure brilliance. That last goal, I mean, I know goal of the year was already awarded, but all 4 of his shit on whatever won. He was just a freak, and he thoroughly deserved his Norm Smith. But the last quarter, what was your take from that?
I'm just going to fess up right now. I was tense till about 2 minutes to go. Honestly, I found it still stressful, even though, logic tells you it was a Richmond game. We had it on our terms. We were all over it. I had my mate telling me, you've got it, relax, have a beer, enjoy it. And I was still on the edge of my seat the whole way, just Tiger of old type mentality, right? But like you said, it became a Richmond game, didn't it? We broke them, our speed. Remember we spoke in the pre-game and we spoke about our speed and creativity.
Across all lines, that was the key factor. We had it on every line. It wasn't just contained to one.
And what was Geelong's big problem? Oh, that's right. In the third quarter, they had. And look, I heard Tiggs talk to SEN today about it. And he said, you gave Scott credit about sticking Dangerfield and sticking with it in the third quarter. But that was their one move, right? Dangerfield middle, Dangerfield forward, and we said that. We said that was going to be a strength, but their weakness, right? If it doesn't come off, but for us. We could shift Bolton, we could shift Marlon Pickett. We had that many different options that we could throw in the middle and around the place to keep the ball moving and get the game onto our terms. And that's exactly what we did, and that's exactly why we absolutely steamrolled him in that last quarter. Speed, creativity to the end, and pressure.
And how good was that first goal of the last quarter by Prestia? Not so much his finish was good, but the pick-up from Kane Lambert under pressure and the quick handball off was just magic.
And not many players can do that. Not many players. People say he's a role player and he's not skillful. Mate, that was top tier level of skill to pick that up with one hand and then release it accurately to a running Prestia. So we create that goal. That was just brilliance.
It was very good. And anything else from the last quarter there, Tiggs? What was Dusty love?
Yeah, look, for me, what was really pleasing for me is that at the start of the fourth quarter, I was really confident we're going to win the game. So I was just enjoying it, and I wanted to see what Geelong had. So I really I'll just mention it because CV sort of brought it up. People are hanging it on Chris Scott, right? Even I've hanged it on Chris Scott a lot, but particularly for putting Dangerfield forward. Hardwick did the same thing, put Dusty forward. And the reason it worked for us and not him, but I thought Chris coached bravely with the tools that he had. Now, that's not giving him an excuse. See, with our creativity, we could shift players to different roles, like Bolter goes onto a ruck. The way they were using Bliffsarves, they didn't change his role, and he started to slow right down. So he started getting caught. And during that fourth quarter, you could see some of their old-timers start to slow down as the pressure was ramped up. I have to say, when we scored the pressure goal, and then Melangolia did that beautiful, courageous mark, and that brilliance by both Short and Simmons, whatever his name is, to try to just, contest the ball, and that poor young Geelong kid got knocked out completely.
That was a massive smash.
He's doing well now, apparently.
Which is great news.
Good to hear.
Which is great news. But that in a way. Now, hear me out when I say this. As soon as that happened, and the length of break that it had, I was even more convinced that we would win, because our one weakness there was a lot of our fight back. We used a lot of tickets in the third, and I thought they're giving us another rest break. Yes, Geelong would have a bit of a rest, but they looked bone weary. Then they had a lot of mental issues. Obviously, living the past failures against us, but we didn't have those mental issues, but we were running with basically too short. So that gave us a nice needed break. And then after that break and after he kicked that goal, we just went bang, and we kicked multiple goals pretty quickly. And look, Dustin Martin, to be able to track Stanley, have the smarts to not go in front of Stanley till Stanley spilt the ball, then scoot in front of him, knowing that Stanley's going to handball it or throw it, like they're getting away with so many throws, throw it to Dangerfield. So to be able to get in, that smartness by that IQ to get in the way of that and actually intercept the throw. And then it was just, I wish someone on the boards or someone on the Twitter universe can get that freeze frame with Dangerfield, his arms around Dusty, sprawled on the floor, just looking up at the majesty that is Dustin Martin as he's going for shot for goal. If you get that, I'm going to blow that up into a bloody poster-size billboard, and I'll put it out the front of my corner block. That's what I'll do. He was just grand finals and big moments are just made for him. And I think my mates, I've watched the game a few times, particularly with my mates. I think he's peaking. He is now starting. We'll see the next 2-3 years will be the best of Dustin Martin. It's fantastic. But he was brilliant.
The best part of that goal, when you watch the slow-mo vision, if you look at the last slow-mo replay they show from behind Dusty, as the ball hits Dustin's boot, a Richmond guy in the crowd stands up with his arm in the air. He knew straight away that was going in. Yeah. It was not going to miss. I thought that was just a great moment. The Tiger faithful that were there. But an incredible win. I think out of the last 3 grand finals, that's been our best one. Just all things considered, what we're up against, the whole COVID stuff, the hub, not playing a genuine home game. The opposition were pretty good, a lot better than the Giants were, and gave more of a fight than what Adelaide did. I think that was one of our best ones.
It's funny. Okay. Let's indulge ourselves. So I'll start with you, Michaels, and you go, Tiggs. So rate the 3 premierships from your favourite to from 1 to 3.
I'd say favourite would be this one, then 17, then 19.
Yeah, we had this debate Sunday. Funny enough for me, I rate the 17 one as the most valuable one, simply for the fact is that we were underdogs, that we poleaxed the 1, 2nd and 4th best sides getting there. And the method of our play birthed what we're seeing now. I think without the 17, 19 and 20 wouldn't have happened. Then obviously this year's my second favourite, and the GWS is my third favourite.
And you see,
I'm with Michaels. I reckon this year, with what every club had to overcome, this year's just been off the charts with the interruptions, the unknowns, the players living away, not seeing their family. It's just been a hell of a year. So I actually rate this one, and the fact that we everyone's been so critical of us for nailing soft kills in grand finals. Well, there's nothing they could say about this one. This took away every single argument that's been thrown at us for the last 3 years. It just destroyed all myths and things that we knew were bullshit anyway. So for me, it's this one, 17, and then 19.
You know what's funny with this win, which no one really has mentioned, like it's been sort of mentioned by us, but they were questioning our culture and our class and all this sort of stuff. And yes, we did a beautiful thing for Gary Ablett, and I was really proud of the club doing it. But we did actually something more important than that. When Gary Ablett came back onto the ground and everyone was going on, we could have hit him legally. If we had just done one hip and shoulder, he wouldn't have played the rest of the game. And we could have done that 5 minutes into the second quarter where we were under siege. But the boys had the class not to do that, not to play. And I'll tell you something, if roles had been reversed and that had been Cochin, let's say, with a really busted shoulder, Selwood would have gone right through him and their players would have gone right through him. But we didn't do it. And the reason why I can say that with a bit of honesty is, I still remember when Lynch was crucified on the media for rubbing some kid's face onto the ground, and Selwood was doing that to Baker. And Bruce McAvaney, that absolute tool, seeing it, it's on TV, and his comment was, "Oh, Lucas Elwood, he's still fighting." And if it had been one of our boys, it would have been, God knows, he's just killed him. But our boys didn't do it. Our boys didn't line up, Gaz. They could have.
Agree.
Particularly under all that stress, we need to win the game. They just played. That's why we're above everyone on the competition. It can sound really arrogant, but it is what it is. I reckon the reason we're so above everyone is not just by ability and how we do it. It's because of our culture. You can't manufacture it. No matter how many people Essendon bring in. And that culture, that level of play the game the Richmond way, and most of the media has no clue what that is. They look at stats to try to define it. And I think that's what sets us level of anyone else, because when we're pressured, when we're really at the task is against us, that's when we get to work. And not many clubs have the gears we have.
No, they definitely don't. You're right. Culture is everything, and you can't just copy another club's culture. You've got to devise your own, and that's why we are where we are. The last two players I want to talk about, well, we've already touched on one, but the other one we haven't. Trent Cochin is now a 3-time Premiership captain. That incredible effort by Koch. He Dimmer, Brendan Gale, and Pete O'Neill have single-handedly, and Barmy, turned this club around, CB. What does it mean for you having Trent Cochin as a 3-time Premiership captain?
Well, it's funny when you get these high draft picks and they come to your club, and you hope, everyone, it's that dirty word potential when they first start up. You hope they become a Premiership player. You hope they do all these wonderful things, and then when you actually see it materialise, like when Koch was young, we always thought he would be the next captain. But man, for him to be a 3-time Premiership captain, it's just off the charts. Honest to God, it's just off the charts. And I'm so glad that we all got to appreciate it and see it. And it's just a wonderful thing for him, and it's a wonderful thing for the club. And I tell you, no one's worked hard. You think of all the knocks he's had over his career, he's had to bloody earn it. Nothing was given to him, was it?
No, he's had to earn every single bit he gets. I'm proud of him. I can't speak highly enough of him. He along with Dimmer, they just created something where, you can share your vulnerabilities. And from where he's gone, because he used to be slagged off by the media because, his high possession games didn't hurt you. They used to attack him really, really, a whole heap. And he could have gone the other way. He could have really closed up and worried about himself, but he didn't. He really just tried to bring everyone with him, and you can tell the players love him. The players play for him. My best moment in any footy game that I've watched in my whole 48 years would be, not the GWS goal that he did, though that was great, was the actual preliminary final goal against Geelong, where he did that 360 spin. Not because of the goal was brilliant.
The moment.
But the moment, and the players, Dusty from everyone came to him, and you could tell they came to him because he deserved it. They were rapt that he showed how elite of a talent he is. Because if you ask any player who sacrifices their game to win premierships, it's Cochin. He sacrifices his game to make sure we win.
Yeah.
Right? And he does that more than any other player, and it's great that people are starting to recognise it outside the club. But yeah, that was the best moment for me, seeing him get that celebrated by the players.
And the $1 million question, fellas. Dusty wins his 3rd Norman Smith medal, maintains an incredible finals football record. Is he now the greatest Tiger ever, CB?
Okay. So I went to my old man, he's 88. So he's seen about 9 flags in his lifetime. So he saw Peak Hart, Peak Bartlett, Peak Dick Clay, seen them all. And I said, Dad, you tell me. I said, is Dustin Martin the greatest ever Tiger you've ever seen? And he said, when you think about football, how it's played back in the old days, he said, Royce Hart was centre-half forward, and that's all he played. And he said, and Kevin Bartlett, who I thought was our greatest ever Tiger, he said he was centre, and then he finished his career in the forward line. He said, but Martin does it all. He starts in the centre, then he goes to full forward, or he goes full forward and he's in the middle. He's everywhere. So, Dad, I'm going to let my dad decide for me. If Dad says he's the greatest Tiger he's ever seen, that's good enough for me.
fair enough. He's got far more experience at seeing the plays than I have. I'm happy to go with him. Tiggs?
Yeah, it's hard for me because everyone knows how much I love Dustin Martin, right? I love him. In raw ability and for what he's achieved, yes, he's the greatest player that we've got. And it hasn't ended yet, right? So, but the most favourite, your question was, is he my most favourite player? And being favourite is not just based on ability. He would never get above. He would have to do a lot more to get above Richo for me. Richo kept me going to games. Richo kept me paying my membership. Richo, mate, kept that pride to be a Tiger, even though we were so shit. He kept that spark going. And for me, I'll never forget that. He was a footballer. He was great. He had all the talent in the world, but he was a supporter playing for Richmond. That's how I always saw him.
What about in terms of overall greatness for the club? Do you reckon Dusty's passed him?
Yeah. Dusty's passed him on ability, yes, in relation to, winning games for Richmond Football Club. No one finishes. I had a good debate with a mate of mine who, funny enough, is a Cat supporter. This morning about Martin, and he goes, "Oh, you're lucky you got such a good finisher." And so we broke it down. I said, "You realise?" And what really struck me is, he's a finisher, but more often than not, he starts the scoring chain. So more often than not, he'll get us in a position he'll start the scoring chain, and then by work rate alone, get to a position where he can actually finish it. That separates him from the Dangerfields. That separates him from the other, like your Hodges and your Judds in my mind, because the finishers, the other great finishers, generally got all the work done for them and then they just finish that work. Dustin Martin often, more, and particularly this year was on display when we had no midfield. He would he has the ability to generate that the assist to score, and then actually go there and score himself. So
yeah, from start to finish, yeah.
For finishing, no one can beat him. In pressure moments, no one can beat him.
And I think now the argument needs to end about, is Dangerfield as good or equal to Martin? I'm sorry.
No, you can't.
If anyone from Geelong listens, I apologise, but he still, in my opinion, has not performed in a final when you've needed him to, and that is key. And he just simply hasn't done it. He was missing again after half time in a grand final. So I think that argument's been put to bed. Yeah,
Dangerfield is a bigger version of Treloar, but without the ego. Well, I mean, with the 10 times, like Treloar I rate because he's actually team first, Treloar. But Dangerfield's exactly like Treloar and how they play. He's just a bigger body and has a 10 times the ego. That's why he'll never get to that level of greatness, because Danger will take these crazy shots, flop for free kicks, so it all can be about him. Where Dusty, the first thing he thinks of when he gets the ball, what's the best decision I can make so the team gets the goal?
Yeah, and that's a huge difference.
Yeah,
that's why we love him.
Can I just ask, so, has Dustin Martin surpassed Christian Petrarca as a footballer?
He's got a while to go, mate. He's got a while to go.
He surpassed him in the womb.
We're talking about Christian, two pizzas Petrarca, right? Where, he's the level he got to in those home and away games against North Melbourne. Wowee, right? Wowee. But, it's going to put bed to all those stupid comparisons. Oh, fucking Petrarca is close to Dusty. Dusty's just...
He's in a world of his own, Dusty.
Yeah. We're watching a living legend at the moment, because Dusty's still got 5-6 years of footy left in him. We're watching it at the moment, so just fucking enjoy it.
All right, and on to our fantastic coach, Damien Hardwick. What a year he's had, and I don't know about everyone else, but up until his grand final speech, I actually had no idea that his family wasn't up there with him. I thought they were, as per like what the players and that had. So for him to be away from his family for that long, having the stresses, the day-to-day stresses of coaching, and to get the boys to a flag is just an incredible effort. And he come out and he's obviously said that he's going to be taking 3 months off, coming back in Feb. I think all the best and fair play to him. Like, you would need so much of a mental break after going through all the COVID stuff and the stresses of not seeing your loved ones. But CB, your take on Dimmer and his 3-month hiatus?
Absolutely justified, and I think that's what makes us a great club. The fact that, I mean, the problem when you read something is you go, straight away think, we've lost Leppich and we've lost Flybags, right? Who've been wonderful servants of the club, absolute superstars. But then Richmond is about the system and the process, on and off the field. And I truly believe that we can cover him, and I'm not even concerned about it. And I think if any bloke has earned long service leave, it's the bloke who's just coached us to 3 flags. So no dramas here.
Yeah, I agree with you. Everything you said there, mate. And the good thing with us too is people got to realise for the training and the preconditioning training that pre-seasons are, we've got coaches that have gone through the whole process with Dimmer, like Livingston, and we've got a few others that can do that. Hardwick doesn't need to be there. He deserves spend time with his family. I reckon, knowing what we know of Dimmer, I wouldn't be surprised if he uses that 3 months away to re-energise, refresh, but to learn new ideas. So I wouldn't be surprised if, not probably next year, but the year after, we evolve again. And it just makes me super excited.
Yeah, no, we love you, Dimmer. Take all the time off that you need, mate. You've brought us all so much happiness, and yeah, you can come back whenever you want. All right, we'll move on quickly. The best and fairest was last night, so it actually works in our favour doing the show on a Tuesday night. I'll go through the top 10 result. So Jaden Short won the Jack Dye medal on 53 votes. Second was Dusty. Third, Vlosten. Fourth, Shea Bolton. Fifth, our man Camden McIntosh. I call it a top 5 finish. Sixth,
We
Liam
called
Baker.
it. Our
man
boy.
Cappy,
Our
we
boy.
love him. Sixth, Liam Baker, who's had a phenomenal year. Seventh, Dylan Grimes. Eighth, Noah Bolter, which I think everyone's going to be really rapt for him. Ninth, Kane Lambert. And 10th, Trent Cochin. So, I mean, a pretty handy top 10 no matter what way you look at it. But Jaden Short taking it out on 53 votes. Just what an incredible year. Doesn't make All-Australian. Plays a game of his life in a grand final and wins the Jack Dye medal CB. He couldn't ask for much more.
I'll tell you something. What do you notice about that top 10, the names you just read out? What's the one thing that stands out of all those names?
A lot of defenders.
Yep. Bingo's the name-o. You've got what, out of the top 10, Short defender, Vlosten defender, McIntosh winger, but plays defence, Baker, Grimes, and Bolter.
Yeah.
So just goes to show, I mean, normally, a lot of medals are midfielders' medals, but it just goes to show how Richmond, their rating systems are so much different, and clearly we rate Richmond manned acts over a lot of cheap possession getting and things like that. And for Jaden Short to take it out, I mean, what a wonderful, pleasant surprise. No one saw that. Like, I had Vlosten.
So did
I had Vlosten and Martin as the top 2.
Yeah.
I thought Bolton would be 3, and I thought McIntosh would be in there as well, and probably Grimes. So the ones that please me is Jaden Short winning. I reckon that's a wonderful achievement. Bolton coming in at 4 is awesome. Cappy at 5, love that. But Baker at 6 is brilliant, and Noah Bolter 8th.
I mean,
what a phenomenal year.
I know he's played before. What a first year in a set position as fullback playing at the top level. Just crazy.
Yeah, no. Yeah, brilliant. It's funny, though, when you mentioned they're all defenders, and the reason why they're all defenders is that was one part of the ground that we had no injuries on, really. If you compare it to the midfield that didn't play for the majority of the year. But that takes nothing away for who's been picked. Like, my feeling, I had a really strong feeling that Blossom would win it, but obviously he didn't. Dustin Martin, I wouldn't be surprised if he won it because he carried out midfield for most of the year.
Because finals are counted too, is why Dusty would have obviously charged home as well.
Yeah, but he carried the midfield. It wasn't sexy. People saying he wasn't in form, but he was getting our clearances and trying to generate our ability to score, which, he did it with no other support other than Shy, and I was so happy for Shy. Shay. Yeah, so happy for Shay. He knows he belongs. That's like he's not very animated, right? And it's really hard because they're in Queensland, so you only can go off what you see on TV and on the internet and stuff. But I've seen him smile a lot more, and that's great. Like, before he wasn't known for that. Now he's smiling and he's a bit more animated, and it tells me, and Baker, mate, I can't get past Baker. He's my favourite. Out of all my current players, he's probably one of my favourite players in my top 3. But Short, look, his dad passed away. He had every excuse under the sun to bail on the year. It goes... He just got better and better, and it's just a testament to our culture, putting our arms around him and allowing him to perform the best he can. So, So proud of him and proud of the club, really. Yeah,
well said there, fellas. Couldn't agree more. All right, we'll move on to some listener questions for the last time this year. Thank you to everyone throughout the year for sending through your questions, by the way. It's one of the highlights for us to see what you all come up with, and we hope we've entertained you with our answers and given some good insight as well.
Actually, point of correction. We will do questions on our trade show, so it's not the last time.
Oh, yes. Definitely a trade for specific live podcast will be coming up, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. So first one from Elise. We've kind of touched on it slightly, but we'll go through this as quick as we can. Was there a point in the last quarter you guys were confident we had it won, or were you all like me and couldn't relax until Jack had kicked his goal with about a minute to go?
Elise, I'm with you. I was a wreck until about 3-4 minutes to go. I was not willing to, even though the obvious was staring me in the face, I couldn't relax and enjoy it till that point.
No, I was confident, but in saying all that, Elise, I'm 48 years of age, and the old Richmond is hard to break, and I wouldn't have surprised me that if they kick 5 goals in under 2 minutes. So that was always in the back of my head, but I was pretty confident of the win.
I was pretty happy with the way the game was going, probably towards the end of the third quarter, which is one of those things where you could tell that it was going to take a lot for Geelong to kick the amount of score they had to get without us scoring again to win. But you're always nervous with Geelong, I guess. But no, I was pretty confident towards the end of the third. From Sinbad.
Sinbad!
See, I deliberately paused there just to wait for you guys to do your thing. When Dusty embarrassed Dangerflog, on the scale of 1 to Randy Marsh Jizz GIF. Now, do you know what that Randy Marsh GIF is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tiggs might not, but that's good that you do. Where were you boys at?
I don't know what it is. Yeah, is that like you hipsters? Is that a hipster GIF? That's why CB knows it by name.
No, it's hard to explain, but that's all right. So how excited were you about that?
Thanks for leaving me out here then. Thanks for leaving me out there alone.
And what did we make of Lethal Lee Matthews saying that our side is now greater than the Hawks dynasty and that the only player he's not insulted about being compared to is Dustin Martin?
Can I answer this one first with Sinbad?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do that because I'm just going to Google what Randy GIF Jizz.
Yeah,
GIF
you Google Randy Marsh Jizz GIF and yeah, you'll see what we mean.
So South Park. Okay.
Yeah, South Park, yeah.
So Sinbad, I'll tell you how excited I am. I am Randy Marsh with a penguin in the latest COVID episode, or Randy Marsh with the Wuhan bat. That's how excited I am on the Randy Marsh excitement thing. So maybe you, Sinbad, need to go have a look at that episode and you'll see how excited I am. Now, as far as Lee Matthews talking about our side and Hawks Tennessee, I just want to put this out there because it is a good talking point. I don't want to – I think anyone who gets caught up in these bullshit arguments of, oh, the Lions three-peat and the Hawks and the Cats and which is the better team, Richmond, and it's all crap. All you want is your team to be in those conversations. So our team is now in a conversation with the Lions three-peat, the Hawks three-peat, the Cats 3 flags in 5 years, and now we're in it. That's all you want. You can rip that shit apart any way you want, but that's all you want. Our team is that good that who would have thought we'd ever be in the Lions conversation? Like, remarkable.
Yeah.
And as far as Dustin Martin and you know, with Lee Matthews, and these people want to have these, forget it. Again, just be happy with the fact that Dustin Martin is in the same conversations as Lee Matthews, for God's sakes, possibly the greatest player. You know what I mean? Like, that's what should make us happy, that we've got a player who's in God mode. In point of fact, I was talking to my good mate Elton John's wig, and this is the best way to describe Dustin Martin right now. For all you old gamers and dudes who play pinballs, Dustin Martin has clocked football.
I was going to say he's got cheat mode on, like the old Shane Warne cricket solid oak, how you can't get bowled out. He just stands there and hits things for 6 every time.
I've gone 80s gaming. Dustin Martin has clocked like the lager. He's clocked it.
He's a freak. Have you found the gift there?
Well, no, yeah, well, I've got a better one. In relation to Dusty embarrassing Dangerflog, mate, I was so happy. It was literally Coney Island, the lonely island, jizz in my pants happy. That's how happy I was, right? That's an epic. If you haven't heard that song, go listen to it. That was fantastic. But no, it's brilliant. In relation to which side's better than the other side and all that sort of stuff, we're Richmond. I couldn't give a fuck about the other sides. That's me being honest with you. People try to compare teams, right? And that's a fool's argument because let's say the Hawks. Let's look at the Hawks dynasty just for a quick second. they didn't have the compromise draft in building that list, right? So they weren't impacted like we were. So does that make us better? Who knows? I'm just happy with Richmond. I reckon 3 flags we're at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we pinch another 1 or another 2 because we've got a really good coaching team. So as to Lee Matthews, look, when he said that, the only one he's not insulted by is being compared to comparing himself is Dustin Martin. The man said it the most better than anyone else can. Because he's still alive, he's telling you that he rates Dusty above everyone else. So that's enough for me.
All right, next one from the tail. Have you guys seen the Geelong trilogy? It's where you watch the 17 qualifying final, 19 prelim, and 20 grand final, one after another. Go for it.
That nearly killed me. Yes, I did, Taylor. That's great. You obviously think like me. I've got I'm 48, guys. So most of my mates are all 48. And normally we have a routine, and we've been doing it since 95. We haven't had to go since after 95. We haven't been having to do it often. Till now, but any preliminary final or any last final we feel it's a last final that's going to be in Melbourne, we'll all go as a group. And then after the game, what we do is we, go our separate ways, and then on that Sunday, we'll meet up at either one of our places, whoever nominates, we'll have a barbecue and a big piss on. And what we do basically is every time Richmond scores a goal, we take a drink, right? And we discuss the game. It's really great. So we did that during the grand final. I did that this weekend, and then one of my mates decided let's do that. Let's watch the 17, the 19, and the 20. But it wasn't the qualifying final, preliminary final, and the grand final. It was 17 grand final, 19 grand final, and 20 grand final. And after already being semi-tanked by watching the 20 grand final already, I have to say I managed to get to probably the second quarter of the GWS game before I just conked out. But I've seen the Jalal trilogy often.
CB?
Yeah, I was. I thought I was really clever and thought I'd thought of that all by myself. But then, like I said, the tail and Tiggs, everyone else has thought of it. So I haven't done it yet. But let me tell you, we got a long summer coming up, and it is definitely on. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, next one from Lee Williamson. I just want the crew to write off Ablett and Dangerfield's performance in the grand final, and I'm also wondering when TIG71 is heading down to Kitty Litter Park to lay his gift. So they remember the loss of the greatest day of the modern team. I would probably start off by saying I don't want to write off Ablett's performance because he played through a broken shoulder, and no matter who you are, what level you play, that takes super courage.
Was it confirmed to be broken?
Yeah, I just saw something come up before.
Yeah, it is
broken shoulder.
Busted.
That takes balls to do that, and he probably wasn't as effective as he would have liked to have been. But similar to what Hawley did for us, he put himself out there to give his team the best chance possible to win, and that's what the champions do. And I don't want to write his off. I want to pay him the ultimate respect for doing that because that takes a lot of courage. But Dangerfield, on the other hand, he was MIA in the second half. He's on the same milk carton as Gary Rowan.
Just to see his face, though. See the face of him. Like, I have to give him credit in the sense that when we won, and obviously he knows, he'll know more than anyone that he just butted it up, right? And he might make excuses in his own mind, but the reality is, as he was in bed Saturday night, the reality's come that you sputtered it up in the most important game of your life. So, but he's been pretty matter of fact. He's heaped a lot of praise on our list, on our players as well. So. Look, I feel for Danger because he's not even the same league as Martin. People put him there because Martin, but he's not even on that league. So, I'm just, I would never write off Ablett. He was just a little star, rich little star, and he made his money in Gold Coast. So I don't believe all of the narrative that, how great a homecoming was. Mate, he just got paid millions of dollars to play his game and then came back and got, more money. But look, the way he ended his career, what he's done for Geelong,
and for the game, really, as a whole.
And for the game, really, did he improve Richmond's game? Did he? No. See, if he had stayed at Geelong, I'd be right with you. But he went to Gold Coast Suns. I don't know. For me, his 4 years at Gold Coast Sun in his peak improved the game. I disagree. I think it was wasteful. His talent was wasted in Gold Coast. I think in 2012 that was the one good year under Guy McKenna, and before he did his shoulder, I think it was. But before that, the first 11 rounds he was in lightning form, and he wasted all that. If he had stayed in Geelong, Geelong would have won and probably another 2 flags. I have no doubt.
Yeah.
I'll say this about Ablett. Everyone talks about the stories are coming out now about Dustin Martin and Adelaide matched the offer and Dusty nearly left and Dusty nearly this and that. Ablett did take the friggin' cash.
That's it.
So let's just put this in perspective. Whenever you hear this, Dustin Martin and GWS, he met him. Ablett took the cash. Dustin Martin's a one-club player. Never forget that. Onto the game, no. No, look, the only thing that sort of frustrated me was when Ablett went down, the camera's on him because he's clutching his shoulder, and we had a dude completely laid out cold. It was all about the little master. Oh, he's holding his shoulder. And we got a dude who's getting his neck put in a brace and getting stretched off on an absolute brave act. So that frustrated me. But look, Ablett has been a wonderful player. He's done wonderful things for the game of football. He was a very fair player.
I wouldn't say he was fair.
He threw those multiple elbows.
Those elbows. He was
15 years he threw 3 elbows.
No.
You can't tell me he wasn't whacked.
No.
Anyway, you had your chance. I'm talking.
Yeah, okay.
To me, Ablett been a very good footballer, and all the best to him. As far as Dangerfield, this performance franked what I've thought about this bloke, and that is the fact is he goes missing in the biggest games, and he does. He's had how many finals he played in, you reckon? He's probably played about 8?
Yeah.
And he had one good final, which was last week. And everyone's talking, all of a sudden it's Dusty. And you had Kane Corns. If you listen to the radio call on SEN, Kane Corns was saying, if Dangerfield plays well this game, he's the best player. He's better than Martin. Based on one game. Like, turn it up.
Yeah.
So, no. Dangerfield, I agree with Tiggs. Dangerfield is in the next rung. He's with your Petrarcas, your Bontempellis, very good footballers, but he's not in Dustin Martin league. He never will be. That's it. Done.
Yep, end of story. I like it. A few more to get through. This one specifically for you, Tiggs. It kind of ties into our GoFundMe idea. From Richmond Man 4, does Tiger 71 need a lift to Moe by the Sea to take a crap at Alphabet Stadium? And can he also take a crap at Dangerfield's house too?
Well, it depends. Richmond Man 4, hopefully, are you a Richmond man because you're a supporter or an actual bloke? Because if you're a female and you've got large bibbies, I might need a lift. But if you haven't, I'm being joking, by the way. Look, I might take you up on it. I think I might do something. It's got a bit. I get flooded with a couple of direct messages on Twitter. I've noticed a fair few people tweeting me out, asking me that, direct messaging me, asking me, "Hey, Tiger, are you going to do it?" If I can get, I'll seriously, believe it or not, right?
There's a part of me that's really scared you're going to actually do it.
Because I might, Michaels. I might do it, I might do something. Like we might, you know what we can do? We can evolve it into more of a, like a trip.
I've got one for you.
Sorry, Sebi, I'm talking. Sorry.
A road trip.
No. Just hear me out. You could have a caravan of poo. No,
well, we could do this. See, look, what we could do like a caravan up to Cardinia Park, right? So we get Richmond, we could do like a car or bus, we'll get grog and some kebabs and whatever, and, might do a podcast on the bus. Right, we'll drive there, mate. Make it fun. Everyone pays admission and all this sort of stuff. We give whatever we make to charity, and we all drive to Cardinia Park, and we all put plastic poos on. I don't know. Let's just
that would be amusing, actually.
Yeah,
if anyone's got
I want to see.
Send them forward.
I want to see. Like at the moment, we watch American politics. You see these rallies, these Trump rallies, and you got just like a whole freeway full of cars with American flags. What I think it should be, we should see a sea of just cars with Richmond flags. At the top, like a caravan, all heading to Geelong. A convoy.
We might make something happen. There we go.
Yeah.
That's something to keep an eye out for. And the last question from Marky Mark: does Collingwood still have a better list than us?
On a serious note, as much as we've absolutely stuck it to Adam Treloar over the last few years, how would you feel if you are Adam Treloar right now? With a club actively telling you, given they re-signed, they extended him last year, Tiggs, is that true?
Yeah.
Last year?
Yeah.
He's on $900K a year. They extended him last year, and because of their utter shit list management decisions, they're now telling this guy, we know you want to stay here, but we don't even want you anymore. And in fact, you know what? we'll even pay part of your salary to get you out of the club. How would you feel if you're Adam Treloar right now?
And what's even worse in CB is they actually asked him to extend his contract so they could smooth it out. So he should have been earning a fair chunk more a couple of years ago than what he was when they re-signed him. I think it was 2 years ago. So they could back end it. Now that this year was, I think, was the first year out of the 900K, and he's got, I think, 3 or 4 more years of it. So really, for his first 3 years or so, he was not earning that much. He was on about 400, around about that figure. So now that they have to pay him, and they realise, like everyone could see it, like when I think it was last year, I copped it from Pie fans when I said your salary cap is screwed, you're done.
Yep.
It was last trade, and they'll go, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And I said, no, you're done. Now it's all coming a cropper, and now they're going to, after getting him, he's sacrificed for the club. Imagine the message it tells everyone else. Yes, we'll ask you to smooth your contract out like our boys did, but when we have to pay you, we're going to shaft you and trade you like a piece of meat. But we need your loyalty. They're going to be careful, Michaels, because this sort of stuff sets you back decades. This is rich. They're acting Richmondy.
This comes back to the one word we spoke about before, which sets us apart from the rest: culture. That's
right. And they're acting very much like Graham Rich. This is a Graham Richmond type of thing. This is a Greg Miller type of thing, right? They're getting very close to that edge before they drop right off. Particularly, too, they're going to lose Pendles. He'll probably go a year or two, and that'll be it. They've got, Treloar, if he does go. I won't talk any draft, actually. I'll save that for the show. I don't want to ruin it.
But this is, like I said, this is quite funny. Like they, there's a dickhead on SEN after 6 o'clock, and they, whoever it was doing his little tradie type show. And a Collingwood supporter rang up and he goes, "Oh no," he goes, "We're getting rid of Treloar because we're getting a big target." And I'm thinking, as I'm doing the dishes, I'm going, "What big target have you landed in reality?" You can't land a key forward to save your lives. You've had a crack at bloody Lynch. You had a crack at Cameron. They're delusional. This is pure mismanagement, and I actually feel, I'll give Treloar credit on this. I feel for him, and Collingwood, what a shit club for him.
Yeah, like you said at the start, CB, as much as we sort of shit can him for the things he said, that's no way to treat a player publicly like that. That's pretty bad, pretty rough on him.
Just the last point on it, I'll let the guys know a bit of an inside scoop. Media's not talking about it, but the strong mail is Collingwood, if they don't get rid of a big, and I sort of said it at the beginning when we started draft, that they have to shed cap. If they don't shed cap, they'll actually be over the cap.
Oh,
right?
Please. No one take their players.
They'll be over the cap, right? It's common knowledge to most clubs that that's the position that they're in. You know why? Because they shafted Matty Rendell, I think the guy's name is there. I think he's a few stubbies short. So he's telling everyone, this is the position they're in. He knows what position they're in. He's telling everyone the truth. So Collingwood has no bargaining hand. They're not getting another gun or anything like that. What they're trying to do is shed his wage so they can pay De Goey some money, pay more, and pay some of the rest of their list so the list doesn't start to be they got their own list, and to stay under the cap. That's what their problem is. They have not budgeted for the cut in TPP at all. So they're in really big. If they don't get rid, if Treloar doesn't go, they're going to have to shed a whole shitload of players.
Stick to your guns, Treloar. Stick to your guns.
Stuff them.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
All right, well, thank you again to everyone for sending through your questions tonight and throughout the year. As I said before, it's much appreciated. We will be doing a live trade show at some point in the coming week, so I'll send a message out when that's happening, because it was a huge hit last time, and hopefully Tiggs get some more info rolling in.
And it's all coming in.
It is?
Yeah, it's all coming in. I reckon give me another week to ferment it all.
Yep.
And we'll do it sometime the following week, and it should be a really good, informative show.
That's no dramas at all. And the other thing we are still hoping to do as well is we are looking to do a retrospective call of the grand final, so you can listen to our audio while you're watching the game, like you would if you're listening to Triple M or SCN or whatever you want. So we are trying to organise a time. It's going to be tricky because we are going to have to commentate it like it's the first time we've seen it, but we'll give it our best. And thank you for the overwhelming response to me asking if people would like that. So we're definitely going to give that a crack. But aside from that could be us done for the year, but what a year it's been.
Yes.
Yeah, what a ride. Thank you so much to both of you guys for coming on as permanent guests. I think it's been a huge hit. We've developed a really good following, some really good relationships, and I think the listeners are enjoying what we're producing for them, and hopefully we can carry on next year. So I thank you both sincerely.
Al, can I just... Sorry, Seba, you go, mate.
No, you go, mate. You go.
Yeah, I just want to say, probably I'll speak on behalf of CB. To those that say on Twitter, if I can be so bold, to everyone that put out on Twitter and on the boards that have said, we've helped you during the COVID period, I just want to put it on record. That means so bloody much to myself personally and to the three of us. To be able to know that we've in some small way helped your mental health or put a smile on your face, because bottom line, that's what this show's for, is better than any paycheck. You know what I mean? It's better than – it's the goal that we were striving to do. So really, really glad that, whenever you do that, it really warms my heart. So I wish everyone a safe Christmas. We're going to open up starting tomorrow. If you're in Vic, get excited around that. Just stay safe. So you make sure you listen to all of our shows, because we're going to have a big year next year. Got a feeling that, we'll go up an extra level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next level, Tiggs.
We might do a Zoom.
level.
We might do Zoom. Set us up with the Zoom. We'll do like a Zoom meeting.
Actually, I will say, look, firstly, I'll say I absolutely agree with Tiggs' sentiments. It's been wonderful. I want to thank Michaels for having me on for the year and Tiggs for putting up with me. I think it's been a really, really enjoyable year, and I want to thank to the listeners out there. It's really meant a lot. But the feedback and the encouragement we get has been wonderful in a really, really hard year. So I'm glad we were able to bring a little bit of sunshine into your lives. So I hope we did, and we really appreciate it. The one, and like I said, I'm looking forward to doing the retrospective call. This will probably, after the retrospective call, that'll be me signing off for the year. I'm going to have a bit of a breather. I've got some cricket duties and other things to take care of. But I just want to say thank you to everyone, and love you all. Stay safe. And, yeah, we'll catch us up next year.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well said. Well said.
All right, and like always, until next time, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Premiers,
go
back
Tigers.
to
Suck
back.
a dick.
Go Tigers. Suck a dick.
Dangerfield. Big crap on Virginia Park.
Let's do the
salty prick.
Let's do the retrospective in Klingon.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Richmond BigFooty Tigercast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and YouTube so you can follow all the roast and toast, the reviews and previews, and all topics Richmond. Also keep an ear out for our special episodes of interviews with past players. Go Tigers.